Good morning, everybody. How are you? How are you? Welcome to Morning Coffee with Mitch. No carnivore bars for me this morning, but coffee I got. Kelsey's still going on there. Looks like they're finishing up. I don't think they drew the winner yet, but that's interesting. I've heard the story of carnivore bars. I've never tasted them yet, but don't have mixed emotions. Mixed emotions. Well, my friends, we'll keep an eye on Kelsey over there on that side, and we'll get to the important stuff here. Drink it if you got it. Another one. Been up since 4:30 this morning. I haven't had coffee yet. It's good. Okay, we had enough blues for this morning. Oh yeah, I woke up at 4:30, wide awake, and I said, "Do I want to lay here for another hour?" And I can't do that. I just feel like I got to get going. So I had a productive morning. Trimmed my mustache. You remember that? You remember that piece of chuck that I used when I did the video with the tenderizer? Was that a week ago? About a week ago. So I had that other piece of it. And I just took it and put it on a rack in the fridge and salted it. I figured, well, I'll dry age it for a while and figure out what to do with it. Let's see who won over there. Let's see who won. Ron Kurtz. Okay, proud owner of some carnivore bars this morning. Congratulations, Ron. They're evidently wrapping up over there. So I took this piece of chunk and I put it on this rack and salted it, put it in the fridge, and forgot about it. I'm looking at it this morning, and there it is. And it's dry aged for a week in the fridge. I said, "Oh, this is great." So I said, "Oh, okay, well, I'm going to try to experiment. And if you see a video come out about it, you'll know it worked." So I'm going to take it, and I vacuum sealed it this morning, and put it in a sous vide at 120 degrees. I'm going to leave it in there all day. Not one of these overnight things, but and then I'm going to cut a steak-sized piece off it, and I'm going to tenderize that, and then try to cook that as a steak. Because I'm on a mission to figure out how to make a great steak out of what used to be a cheap cut of meat, but now basically a cheaper cut of meat, and I'll let you know how it works out. So I got that accomplished this morning. Got some computer work done, and watched Giltz. Giltz is over there in Lisbon, Portugal, on vacation. You know, for years now, I've heard people use that word. I forgot what it meant, to tell you the truth. Brody says, what about just doing it all the way in the sous vide and then put a reverse sear on it? I've done that many times. I've sous vide it for as long as 2-3 days. It's always tough. I mean, it's not bad. You can eat it, but it's not a ribeye. I feel like an alchemist, trying to turn lead into gold. But it's a quest. I've tried that. I've made videos about that. I've tried it, and then after I sous vide it, I tried cooking it like a steak. I tried cubing it. The best results I had from that was when I cubed it up and just burned the hell out of it in a super hot air fryer and made like chuck steak burnt ends. Look, going for that Maillard reaction like you have when you have the burnt ends on a brisket. They're the tastiest because a lot of that gets caramelized. But nutritionally, I think it's the worst way to eat meat. So you have to decide, do you want it meat candy or do you want some nutrition from it? So I'm still trying to figure out a way to do chuck where it'd be relatively rare, but somehow tenderized. I thought maybe dry brining it in the fridge I originally intended to do it for a day, turned into a week. We'll see. We'll see. I keep experimenting. I mean, I don't film everything. I just keep experimenting till I find out something that might be a good idea. Well, good morning, everybody. Good to see you. How we doing here? 93 people. Great. I see Kelsey is done. Kelsey's completely finished over there. That's how my buddy cooks his, though. Yeah. Where are we going this morning? What are we talking about? I made some notes. Oh. Well, let me say hi to the early birds first, then I'll get into my commentary, because somehow once I get started on that commentary, I never get finished. First in last night, Mary M. 625 yesterday. How are you? You were usually among the first. And Mike Seeley, 6:30. How are you, Mike? Probably checked in early this morning. Nikki W. Mandy Beddoes is waving. Tuka managed to get Google to give him back his membership. So we'll see you tomorrow night, Tuka. Lady June, good morning, June. How are you? How are you from England? Patty's Garden had a question, basically having problems sleeping. Wow. So any help, let her know. So I've been up since 4:30 and haven't talked. So to warm up my vocal cords here. I chimed in. You can see how early I chimed in. It was 5:30. Wow. Brian Dish, me cool cat this morning. Brick, 30 minutes ahead of time said. 30 minutes to quack time. Mike Silly Sr. chimed in. Josephine C., how are you? Jeff S., good morning from Michigan. And here's Mike Silly from Tampa. 6:50 a.m. Wow. That's usually late for him. Lucy, work. Hi, Lucy. How are you? Thomas is here. Worthy Prince thinks carnivore bars are a load of crap. Well, you know how I feel about opinions. Well, there's two ways to feel about it, but I think everybody should be entitled to have their opinion on anything. So, have you ever tried them? I have no opinion on them, except that they're so expensive, but I can understand why. They're small batch stuff made by hand. It's such a demanding process to take meat and fat and preserve it unrefrigerated for what they claim should be up to 25 years in a pantry. Like most things that people claim, we haven't been long enough to have around long enough to actually see if it really is. In 25 years, they can open up some of the ones they made at first and have proof positive. But other than that, it's theory based on pemmican, which is a preservative method that's been used through the ages. But the science is interesting. I heard Nelson say on the live stream that he carried a half open one around in his backpack for a year and it was still good. So that's crazy. That's nuts. That's nuts. Tuka, how are you, boss? I'm great, and I gotta tell you guys, I put out rant videos. I put out cooking videos. I put how to science-based. And every once in a while, I put out just a feel-good video. And I have a very short one coming out this afternoon. Not that I don't want to extend my feel-good videos out to 20 minutes, but this one is one of my stroke recovery milestone videos. And it's about 6 minutes. But it felt so good for me that I've actually watched it 5 times myself already because it just made me feel so good. And I hope you enjoyed it. It's another one of those things I never thought I'd ever be able to do again in my life that has come back. So you have to experience, I think, those kind of moments about your health. Imagine how somebody who got a diagnosis of terminal cancer would feel if their doctor said, well, we got it in remission. Like a reprieve of a death sentence. Well, imagine how you'd feel if you fully expected to be crippled, basically, the rest of your life. And something happened where you have hope that you're not going to be. That was what happened to me yesterday. So I hope you enjoy that. And that's how I am today, Tuka, answering your question. I think I got it set to come out about 10 minutes to 2. Somewhere in that neighborhood. 10 minutes to 2. Lady June's back, and Loretta. Hi, Loretta. How you doing this morning? And Tuka and Loretta are talking back and forth. And Francine Bourgeois. Hi, Francine. And yes, we're all secondhand vegans. We eat vegans. In case you don't get that, and I'm sure you do, cows are vegans. Jeff S. is back this morning, and Barry Simon. Hi, Barry. How you doing? Good morning, Mitch, and everyone. Brian Dish. OTHD. Let get the Mitch Fit started. Okay. And Lambs, good morning to you. And I'm getting tired of this. Aren't you getting tired of this? Lambs. You, and of course the next one up is Robbie Autry. Aren't you guys getting tired of this photo finish every morning? Thanks for playing, guys. That's terrific. I love it. And Don Scheiger is right there. And so is Marla Kelly and Larry Ryan. How you doing, Larry? And Rick is here, and let me do this for Rick right now. You ready, Rick?
Quack, quack.
Okay, the ducks are awake as well. Patty's Garden is back, and Julie Atkins, how you doing from Charlotte? From Charlotte, and Thomas is with us this morning. T-Pain Golf, how you doing? Chris Swain from Down Under said, evening, Mitch. Julia Wigger, hiya, Julia. How are you doing? How you doing? Good to see you. Julie Atkins, I hate carnivore bars. They are gross. Well, I'm going to make a confession. I'm going to make a confession. In my pantry right now, there's a pretty well nondescript looking cardboard box, and in it are 6 carnivore bars. There's salt and meat. None of this fancy stuff. None of this apple pie flavored, which I can understand the reason for that. Not everybody is militant carnivore, but if people want to eat a candy bar, they'd be much better off eating that, even though it has 8 grams of carbs in it, than eating the crap that they eat. So they made a good point this morning that maybe this is a great way to introduce the non-carnivore, low-fat world to actually eating high-fat, nutritious things, even if it requires sacrificing a few carbs, and as long as it's made healthily. And that was a great point for 99.9% of the public who would not eat a salt and meat carnivore bar. They'd probably spit it out. So, good idea. Good idea. We try everything else to get the people to go carnivore. Why not try giving them a candy bar? It's actually not a candy bar. It's a Trojan horse, basically. It was 12 grams of carbs. Yeah, seriously, it is quite a lot. But it's not quite a lot. It's nothing. 12 grams of carbs is inconsequential. It's almost ketovore if that's all you eat in a day. I mean, it is inconceivably few carbs for the average 200 to 300, 400 gram a day carb person that's killing themselves. So in that respect, I think that it would be a great idea if we could get people. The problem is, number one, they're fabulously expensive. In order to mass market them and put them out there in quantities, they'd have to be able to be sold at the price of some of these protein bars, which are really just candy bars in disguise. So it's not feasible. It's not feasible. But, for example, you're a carnivore and you're trying to get your family, get your kids to at least stick their toes in the water. You know, you might use this as a treat for them because supposedly they're addictive. In fact, he actually said on the show, he said, if you're a carb addict, don't eat the apple pie ones. Don't eat the apple pie ones. You will just eat them all. And it doesn't matter if a food is high fat. If it triggers your sugar, your carb addiction, you're going to binge on it. And I want to talk for a couple of minutes about Ken Berry's interview yesterday and with Kelly Hogan. And I actually touched on that subject of just because foods are made with ingredients that are pure carnivore doesn't mean they can't be put together into recipes that have certain mouthfeel, certain crunch, certain things that are addictive, and you can't go through. And she used the example of, what did she say she cooked? I forgot, but she made a dozen of them. She ate 9 of them and said, never again. And I've done that with certain recipes too that were, for all intents and purposes, very, very low carbon, very healthy. And that's all on good, except that I ate 10 servings in one sitting until it was gone. So I don't care how good it was for me. If you eat too much of it, you're addicted. So you have to be careful about things that have something other that you find pleasurable than just the sugar in it. And they don't need to be sweet. These things can be savory too, which fits right in with carnivore. So you got to be careful. You don't make things too tasty and too satisfying. Satiating was the word they used. Foods that are just too satiating. Anyway, that was an interesting interview, and I want to give you a few comments on that as well. But let me get through it. We got to 7 o'clock, and Peter is here. Hi, Peter. How are you this morning? Jeff Streslike. Worthy Prince can't get past the fact that they cost so much money. Well, you know, my friend Prince, you're probably not going to buy them. And I'm not probably going to buy them. So whether they're overpriced or not is a matter of value. If you look at what I think a Rolls Royce is overpriced, because I can buy a Toyota. You know, why would I want a Rolls Royce? But somebody must see some value in it. So they sell a lot of these carnivore bars. And the box that I got, I didn't buy. Kelsey gave it to me. Evidently, Kelsey is, although you don't hear him promoting them, he's probably an influencer. He probably is an affiliate. They probably signed him up and gave him a bunch of free samples. They haven't approached me yet, but I don't think I want to be harping carnivore bars on here. Just like I don't want to be harping Element. And yes, when people use influencer marketing like Element and carnivore bars in them, of course, commissions are built into the price. But they're not buying advertising, which is also built into the price of everything you buy, or sales commissions, like car dealers. So you got to figure that the cost built into every product, I don't care what method they market it by, whether it's multi-level marketing, influencer marketing, TV advertising, YouTube advertising, Google advertising, whatever, there's a marketing cost built in. Otherwise, the poor manufacturer would be sitting on a lifetime supply of his own product because nobody knew that it even existed. So you can't find fault with the marketing. Now, there's only one product that I saw kind of an expose on where they really found fault with the marketing, and that was that AG1 supplement, the green powder, athletic greens. And they were charging $100 a bag for this stuff. And they were paying their influencers at least 50% of that. So these guys are making a fortune, and they had roped in some really, really high-end people with great reputations. Andrew Huberman pushed this crap for years. He's probably made millions of dollars on it. I lost all respect for Andrew Huberman. The guy who's always pushing cold plunges and saunas and red lights and sunlight and barefoot and grounding and all this healthy stuff. Come to find out he's making a fortune selling people green poisonous powder. You have to say to him, did he not know? Maybe he didn't. Maybe they had him snowed. But how could somebody who claims to be such a neuroscientist look at the ingredients list of this 100% plant-based poison and not know enough about biology or about diet to know that maybe this stuff isn't really all that good for you? Maybe there's enough oxalates in here to rust out the Titanic. I don't know. Inquiring minds want to know. So, who else we got? And then I want to talk a little bit about that video. Hey, put QQQ in the chat. Peter, point them out to me if I miss something. I'll try to get to them all today. Jerry just asked you if Kilt's gifted you some carnivore barge at your first meetup. I believe it was at the meetup here in Melbourne. Yes, I already answered that before as a little question. But yeah, Jerry, I got those from Kilt's, and I thought when he first gave me, I said, well, I'm going to have to taste these. Going to have to open them, and then I realized that box was worth about $200 for 6. I used to buy these Atkins bars way back 30 years ago because I thought they were healthy. And they cost back then like $10 a box for like 10 of them. And they were teeny little things. These pemmican bars are hefty. And I don't want to go get them out of the kitchen, but I'll try to remember to bring them in here tomorrow with me and show you the packaging and all. They are, and they're all made by hand. They have to be to make sure that they have zero moisture, zero oxygen, and anything else that, chemically is required to feed anything. It might spoil food, bacteria. It's just basically mostly fat and meat. And they go to a lot of expense. They grass-fed cows, grass-finished cows. They make their own tallow. I mean, every step of the way, this guy's a perfectionist, and they're expensive. So I looked at that box, $200, and said, maybe I should save these for emergency, like they're supposed to be. Maybe they don't spoil. I'll just leave them in the closet. Never tasted them. I was afraid I might like them, and then I don't know. They're supposedly, believe it or not, have kind of a. It sounds horrible to me, but a little Nestle's Crunch kind of consistency. Remember Nestle's Crunch bars? Well, they have that kind of consistency. And people who've eaten them, who are carnivores, say they taste wonderful. So I'm afraid that box of 6 of them may last me maybe through the day. Snack, yeah, because I'm that kind of an eater. Anything that has a good addictive mouthfeel to it. That's how the food scientists addict us to the things like Doritos and all this crap they make. They get the whole package for us. They got our number, folks. So yeah, Jerry Kelsey gifted those to me. Question, Mitch, from Jerry, did Dr. Kelsey? Okay, got that. Let me just go back real quick in this chat and take a look and see, so I don't get too far behind. If I missed any questions yet, that'll help. Don't see any. Okay, let's zip on back to the bottom. That's quite a ride, guys. Peter, Robbie just asked you about your opinion on grounding. Mitch, how do you feel about grounding? I know a man that has been doing it for years, and he swears by it. First of all, how do you know that what you think is a great benefit isn't just a placebo effect? And we all know what the placebo effect is. Basically, wishful thinking. Somebody says to you, do you feel better? And you know how hard you're working at this stuff, and you want to feel better. You want it to be true. They call that in a lot of places healthy user bias. I mean, people that have health on their mind, that are working very hard to do things, will swear that those things are working and they feel better. But there's no way to quantize that. How would you? Sometimes I go out in the grass with my bare feet, maybe 15, 20 minutes. But other than that, I'm not a very well grounded individual. I understand the science of it. That everything is basically energy flowing one way or the other. There are people who go so far as to sleep on grounding mats. Most people who do it swear by it, but I believe that's just a placebo effect because you have no way of knowing. I don't notice the difference in the way I feel. Yesterday, I felt the best of any day since I had my stroke, and that's why I made that video yesterday afternoon. I basically haven't grounded in a week. Now, if I grounded yesterday morning, I would say, wow, maybe it was just grounding this morning. But since I didn't, it couldn't have been. So I think a lot of these things count for a little bit. I never worry about blue light in my eyes at night. I don't wear red glasses. I watch TV up until I can't keep my eyes open anymore, and I sleep like a baby. So somebody says to me, don't you think you need to stop looking at your computer screens and TV screens at least 2 hours before you go to bed because that's what they say? I say, why? It doesn't bother me. I sleep like a baby, and I get up in the morning and I feel good. So we have to be very careful because all we do all day is watch other people's advice telling us how to be better. And I talked about that yesterday, about always changing things, always looking for the new shiny thing, always trying to. Sometimes you just do what you do, keep it simple. Say, I feel pretty good doing this. And stop looking for ways to improve it. You can keep improving it until you ruin it. That's more likely to happen. So my philosophy is, I feel great. What I'm doing is working. I don't want to change. And that brings up this whole add carbs to carnivore argument that is now that the sugar diet has died out as the YouTube influencers' new way to get views. The should I add carbs to my carnivore controversy has taken its place as the new. And I'm guilty of that. That made one video. I made a video way back before people were talking about it because I had the stroke. But I made one video and I basically said the arguments, and I said, I don't think so. I'm not changing. Nobody's convinced me. And I've been thinking about this since I read Benazati's book, and I held it up the other day, called Keto Flex, this flexing business. And then I see a video yesterday from Ken Berry and Kelly Hogan, over an hour long. And for me to watch a video when I know in advance, in order to watch it, I'm going to have to be stuck there and this was like an hour and 10 minutes. It was a live stream, replayable live stream. Now, I'm not a member of his private community, and I don't get to watch those big time live streams. Doesn't matter to me because I don't particularly have to ask them questions. But I did watch it because I know there's a lot of controversy. I've already weighed in with my opinion. And I was curious because I know Kelly Hogan. I know her. I know her story. I know she's a raging carboholic. I know that she cannot even have anything sweet. I know that her history, if you don't know her, I mean, she's a beautiful woman now, but she weighed 260 pounds at one point and was sick as a dog. Before, I mean, she's been a carnivore for like 16 years. I mean, a real carnivore for 16 years. It was like keto for 6 years before that. And she's still a young woman. So I really identify with her as far as just how far I can go off carnivore before I just fall off the edge. And that's an individual thing. And that's why it's hard to take advice from somebody that's not at the same level of addiction as you are. And it's really all about addiction. We all know people that just can't understand why we can't just eat just one cookie and put the rest back. They can't understand it. Nor would I expect them to. And Ken Berry is a carnivore, but he's a loose carnivore. I'm not going to say dirty carnivore, but let's just say a loose carnivore, but still a raging carb addict. And when he, and you know, I could not be married to Nisha and stay strict carnivore, because she's always trying to concoct some new recipe with small amounts of carbs. She's a ketovore. She invented that so that she had an excuse to claim the righteousness of a full carnivore and all of the pride and badge and ribbons you can have, but to still leave herself an opening to feed the carb addiction. If it works for her, that's fine. I think there's no need for the ketovore category. I think it's absurd. I think if you want to eat carbs, keep it under 20. You want to be a carnivore, do the best you can to shoot for 0, and don't punish yourself if you stray a little bit. So when Ken strays, and he told stories about this on this live stream, so I'm not making this stuff up. He talks about the fact that he falls off the wagon and he binges, and he regrets it afterwards, but he's a carnivore. And that's the way most of us are. We just don't want to admit it. At least he's an honest guy and admits. And he admitted a little more yesterday in that video than I've heard him admit before. But it was a very interesting discussion. The title of it maybe led you to believe, and this is a clickbaity part, I don't blame him. You got to get. I watched it before because the initial impression I got from the thumbnail and the and the title was, "Oh no, don't tell me that Ken Berry and Kelly Hogan are buying into this crap." Following on the heels of that Lisa Wiedemann and Zane Griggs video, where she's talking about, she may as well just become. She's got everybody thinking she's a low-fat vegan now. I mean, it couldn't be further from the truth. But and then Zane Griggs probably is not a carbohydrate addict, although I don't know. He's a very fit young man. Well, he's 50, but very fit. Bodybuilder, personal trainer, and probably doubt he ever had a weight problem in his life. But that's a guess. I don't know for sure. And we can't listen to people like that give us advice until they've lived a little while in our shoes. And if people say, well, Mitch, you can't understand it. Well, I do understand. And I've said this many times before. I understand because I feel that way about alcohol. So do I get up on my high horse and holier than thou attitude and say to people I know that are suffering as alcoholics, unable to overcome their addiction, watching it harm their health, do I say to them, you're weak. I don't know why you can't stop drinking. I don't drink. Don't you want to kill people like that? So when somebody comes up to me and says, oh, you're just a glutton, you know, you got no willpower, grow a pair, just put the donuts down. Obviously, that's not coming from a carbohydrate addict. They don't even know what the definition of a carbohydrate addict is. So I saw this video and I said, oh, no, please don't do a Lisa Wiedemann on us here, Ken. I can understand that, like, just what's going on with kilts today. The whole thing is there seems to be a big trend in this community of people making videos about what amounts to the dangers of being on carnivore for too long. Are there really any dangers? Do we get to a point, and I, of course, was thinking along this way too, because I started to hear, I've been over 3 years now, up here, people saying, when you get to be 2 or 3 years, you risk your pancreas going on vacation and not making insulin because you know, it's just been too long. And I said, well, you know, that atrophy kind of scenario could be possible. You don't use your muscles, they go away. So this is why people started talking about adding carbs and flexing. You don't use your sugar pathways to go away. Well, let's look at the opposite. Let's look at a vegan who's been a vegan for 5 years, has not put 1 gram of fat of any kind in their body for 5 years. They get sick, and they start eating meat and fat, and those fat-burning pathways wake up. They're not dead. The things that make the hormones necessary for that kind of metabolism are still there. So I look at this logically over the past few months, trying to decide what I needed to do, because like I keep saying, none of us knows anything for certain. We can only think in most probable. Well, this most probably is correct. I told you I can't even get a doctor to tell me anything definitively. The final word when you quiz them long enough is always out of your doctor's mouth. Always. Well, we really don't know for sure. If I had $1 for every time I heard that from a doctor, I'd have a few dollars. That's because we don't know for sure. The chemistry is way too complicated, and there's too many variations. So I guess what I'm saying is it's an interesting discussion. I'm not making reaction videos or anything like that. I don't. But if you have a spare hour and 10 minutes, I think you'd find it fascinating. And spoiler alert, and I don't really care, neither one of them is going to change a thing. Neither one of them thinks there's any validity to this stuff. They mirrored and parroted everything. Not that they saw me or they're plagiarizing me, but every word that came out of Ken Berry's mouth on the subject has come out of my mouth recently. the past month or two. I mean, every concept, every thought. That's because he's a realist too. He's a carb addict too. He looks at these things from these same angles that I look at. So if you watch this video of theirs and you listen to Ken Berry, you'll find out that he even said yesterday something I said a couple of weeks ago. And he went down the same path. Maybe he watched my video. I don't care. I get so many ideas from him. I try to credit him for him. I said, Ken Berry said it, but you know, maybe, I know he watches some, he and Nisha watch my videos. They've said so. Maybe he got this idea from me. Maybe he knew it all along, but never thought of how to express it. Or maybe he never heard I said it and had the same idea, because who am I to think that I'm the only human being that can have a particular thought? I'm not that arrogant. He said, you know, it's very possible. And he came out and he started it this way. He said to Kelly, he says, you know what the problem with being a carnivore YouTuber is? He said this to Kelly. I loved it. I knew it was coming. He said, you know what the problem with being a carnivore? What do we got to talk about? He said. How many times have you heard me saying, what am I supposed to make videos about? We got meat. We eat meat, we cook meat, we do this with meat. I said, it's a challenge. Being a carnivore content creator, you're so limited in what you can make videos about. And that's true. You sit there. And I so identified with it when he said, yeah, I sit there. I said, what the hell am I going to talk about today? That's the problem. So, and he used the sugar diet thing as an example. He said, yeah, when the sugar diet came along, everybody jumped on it because of an excuse for YouTubers to make videos. And I think those were my exact words a day or two ago about why you're hearing so much about this. Not because it's that new. This book, Keto Flex, is years old. This concept has been there. But you got all of these, an increasing number of wannabe YouTube stars, me included, that have nothing to talk about. Can only interview the same 6 people so many times. Can only have so many live streams with the same bunch of people on there talking about the same thing. I have that same problem. How do you keep it interesting? You try things. You try things. Chef Mitch, you try to have characters. You know, you got to be entertaining. You can't just talk about meat all the time. You try to, and even with that, my YouTube channel's not a success. It's a failure. It's an abject failure. And if I had to make a living at this, I couldn't do it. I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be here. But I make a tiny little bit of money, so I look at it as a hobby, as a side gig. I can indulge my desire to do this with the fact that I make good money elsewhere, and I love you guys, and that's why I do it. But as a YouTube channel, have I gotten over 46,000? I've been trying to get to 46,000 views for months now. It's came to a dead screeching halt, and it's like watching paint dry. Right now, I am at, oh, wow, look at that number. 46,000 on the money. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Holy cow. Holy cow. Even the ducks are happy. Wow! Holy cow, I gotta take a screenshot of this. You talk about timing. That's crazy. 46,000 subscribers. But I should have, if I was, as long as I've been doing YouTube, I should have hundreds of thousands of, so I don't have enough to interest a broad enough group of people. I always pick these narrow niches, like I did with the drones. And you got a couple of superstars that have been around for 8, 10 years on YouTube. And the rest of us are fighting. And everybody thinks that I'm a big channel. I got to be making a ton of money. No. No. And anybody buy me a coffee today? What do you think I get? What do you think I make money from? From YouTube or Amazon? I made a couple $100 from Amazon last month. It's chump change. You better have a love of doing this. Anybody that's got a channel of less than 100 or 200,000 subscribers and a bunch of sponsors who continues to do YouTube, you can pretty well assume they're doing it for the love of it. They just love it. They feel like it makes them feel good, and it makes them feel like maybe they're helping somebody. And that's what I get out of it, and that's why I don't want to quit. I love it. I'm in my element in these things, and I just keep trying to be an oddball so they don't think I'm like everybody else. Where was I? I was talking about watching Ken Berry's video, but that's true. That was true. It was clickbaity stuff, trendy stuff, the next shiny thing to attract everybody's attention, and it will go away. And the other point he made that I almost stood up and cheered, he actually mentioned addiction and why if you're an addict, you can't add carbs and continue to do a carnivore diet. Simple as that. Simple as that. You might want to. It might even be good for you to do that. But you just can't. You're an addict. And what he did is, I think, grossly underestimate the number of people that are addicts in this country. Sugar addicts, which I happen to think is most people now. The food and drug companies have had at us long enough to pretty well, they use the foods as a drug and addict all of us. So it's a great intellectual thing. But right away, if you're a carb addict, you just stop thinking about it. And if indeed there's some truth that maybe you get a couple of % detrimental benefit in your health because you're not flexing, it's not worth going off and back to the standard American diet and really trashing your health. Just accept the fact you're 2% less healthy than maybe you could be, but at least you can stick to it. Just another one of life's little concessions that I'm making, and Ken Berry is making, and Kelly Hogan is making, certainly Rick is making, and every other carnivore that somehow, like the cavemen who are carnivores, managed to live out their lives without worrying about flexing and exercising those sugar burning, because we still use those pathways. We still make sugar. And all of those things, I don't care if they're fats, cholesterols, sugars, they're all made up of the same building blocks, just arranged a little differently, but it's the same stuff. That's why the body can convert sugar to fat and fat to sugar so easily. It's just a pathway that moves an atom from here to there on the molecule through a couple of steps. That's how everything in the body works. But if you analyze the molecule, with the exception of those molecules that contain a little electrolytes or something else, which facilitate the moving around of these other. Everything we are is carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. We are carbon and water. That's what we're made out of. Carbon and water. And you can arrange those atoms, those three different elements, in so many different ways. You arrange them one way, you got table sugar, glucose. You arrange them another way, you got a long-chain fatty acid. Saturated or unsaturated, take your pick. You arrange them yet another way, you got gasoline. Yeah, same stuff. Carbon and water. Carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. That's life. That's what we are. So there's not that much difference between a carbohydrate or a sugar and a fat. They just took this carbon molecule and moved it over to there. And because of the difference in position on the molecule, it may react. It reacts differently with different things. Still just carbon and water. What we are. What do we breathe in? Oxygen. Well, it's one of the three things that we need. What do we breathe out? Carbon dioxide. Another molecule that has carbon and oxygen combined together. You take the carbon out of that molecule and you stick a molecule of hydrogen in there, or a couple, and now you got water. It's the same stuff. It's the same stuff. The chemistry is not that complicated. Florida, Kathy, I see a question down here. I'll get to that right now. What do you think are the most harmful popular foods? I think donuts, French fries, and bottled salad dressings because of the seed oils. They're all harmful. That's a good question, Kathy, but how could you rank them as to the most harmful? As far as I'm concerned, the most harmful would be an individual thing. Be those foods that trigger your particular addiction and you eat too much of, because they're all bad for you. They're all bad for you. They're all sugar. There's a controversy going on about what's worse, sugar or seed oils. Who cares? Who cares? They're both oxidizers. They both cause inflammation. Doesn't matter. Sugars, seed oils. Chris Kenobi is a seed oils are bad guy, and I mean, he's done all the tests and he's got a lot of great points. You don't see him too much anymore, but they've got graphs showing that as our sugar levels increased, our health didn't decrease as much as when the seed oil levels started to increase. And they started to increase, I think, before. Because the first seed oil stuff started coming in the early 1900s. And when Crisco came along, that was, and then we started with the margarine crap. I don't think the sugar became as big a problem until Ansel Keys and the Food Line and the low-fat shit came in. Because before Ansel Keys, low-fat wasn't a thing. People just weren't running around saying, eat low-fat. But as soon as Ansel Keys came around, and he had his big dust-up with John Yudkin about what's causing the problem, sugar or fat, they never bothered to be thinking logically. They never looked back and said, well, we've been eating a high-fat diet and smoking cigarettes like they're going out of style, and everybody's still pretty healthy and skinny, relatively speaking. They didn't have all the evidence of what's happened to us in the past 40, 50 years to compare to that. So I can understand why they would think that maybe those things were bad for you, because they don't, they hadn't yet seen the results of what bad could actually do to the human race. But we're at a point now where we have so much evidence and proof that you got to figure anybody that's still in denial about this, it can only be for one of two reasons. I think the biggest of those reasons is they're addicted to it. They don't want to give it up. Do you think the average cocaine snorting person wants to see the war on drugs be successful? Hell no. I know that. Don't interrupt my cocaine supply, for God's sakes. Who do you think you are? This is a free country. Well, you think all these people that can't go 5 minutes without a donut are going to sit still? Even if it's a valid reason, if they say, all right, donuts are outlawed now. You're going to shut down all the donut shops. We're going to have donut police. You want donuts? You probably have to sneak around in the dark and find some guy selling them on the corner. That's what's good. They tried that with prohibition. How would that work out for us? You can't outlaw something people are addicted to. They will get it and run over you on the way. You'd think we'd have learned those lessons already. It's why the addiction model of business is the most successful business model that ever was. Get your customers hooked, and they're customers for life. They can't help it. That's why the entire medical business is transforming to an addictive model of business. And they're not discouraging it, they're encouraging it. The medical community backs up the food companies every step of the way with their diet recommendations of all this sugar and unhealthy foods. And they benefit by having you as a customer for life, because they keep selling you the magic pill to fix everything that those evil food companies, talk about hypocrisy, are causing. That's the way the world works. I always end up talking about the way the world works here. Somebody just texted me. Buy me a coffee. Jane bought me some coffees. Jane, thank you, sweetheart. Thank you so much. And Jane bought me a coffee yesterday. You're too kind. Too kind. Thank you. What was the message on that? Let me see what it says. It says, so thankful for you, Mitch. I love your channel and Dr. Burry's the most. I have carb addiction just like you, and you keep me on a straight and narrow. Well, I talk about it. I talk about it. And Barry Simon. Smart guy, Barry. Thank you, Barry. Little super chat there says, Donut, Barry likes to invent superheroes. He invented Duckman for Rick. Has Rick ever got the Duckman thing going? Rick, you ever got the Duckman on your channel? And Rick, in infinite wisdom, said an absolute truth. And that was cops will never allow donuts to be banned. Now there's some insight, folks. Rick never got the Duckman file. Well, I don't know what. I mean, I'll try to get it to you, Rick. I'll try to get it to you. Hang on a second.
To the Quackmobile!
There we go. Let me play that again so you can see it.
To the Quackmobile!
Cool. Oh, yeah. Hey, I've got it here. Okay, I'll try to figure out somebody to get it. I don't know how big it is. Let me see if I can tell how big it is real quick here. It is, it's only 2.21 megabytes. I can email it to you. It's small enough. Okay, I'll email it to you after the show so you can have it and you can play around with it. But I do love my rant, man. It's great. It's great, 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 great. Thank you, Barry. Thank you so much, man. Donut Man, the super zero, he said. Yeah. Rick says, I'm too poor to try any fancy gadgets. Well, there's a fix for that, Rick. But it's not my place to tell you how to live your life. You're not doing too bad. You're not doing too bad. Okay, I think, I don't know. Let me time to cruise up here a little bit. It's already after 8 o'clock. Where the hell does the time go? I talked about Ken Berry. I talked about looking for my little feel-good video this afternoon. I didn't even put my buy me a coffee thing up there today, but it would be appreciated, but not necessary. What else did I get here? I don't get it. She sent me a picture of a coffee cup. I'm asking what that means. Worthy Prince bought me a coffee. Hey, Worthy Prince, thank you. Thank you so much, my friend. Appreciate that. Jane bought me 2 coffees today. Wow. Wow. Thanks, guys. So nice of you. So nice of you. In fact, I'll celebrate that with some coffee. A coffee. That's what my mother used to say from Philadelphia. I want a cup of coffee. You want a cup of coffee? Like Coffee Talk on Saturday Night Live. Remember that? Coffee Talk. Coffee Talk. That's how they say it up there. I still have a little of that. People, I love Philadelphia in 1966. That's a long time ago. And there are people who meet me and say, "Oh, you're from Philadelphia." I said, "How the hell do I sound like I'm from Philadelphia?" Oh, you can tell. You can tell. So there must be some remnants of it in there. Wow, wow, wow. Oh, let me back up. See any more red in there where Peter pointed a question out to me? Jerry just asked you another question. Jerry, inquiring minds, I don't know. Have you ever changed the speed to watch those hour-long YouTube videos? Yeah, I have. Sometimes I bump it up to 1.5 times or 2 times. Sometimes I just want to sit and relax and actually savor something and enjoy it. So I don't think about doing that. But in fact, I've never done that on my TV. I know I can do it on my cell phone, but I don't think I've seen the option on my Roku. I don't know if that app has the option to double time it. I have to look for it though. But yeah, it's not a bad idea, Jerry. Donna Main Runner just asked if there's still a discount code for the typer dupe. Yeah, the discount code that what happened was they lowered the price so low they took all the discount codes off. But the price is probably back up right now. So the discount code is Carnivore for me. On the new air fryer, I had to replace the link. That's the problem I have with Typer. They're great people, but their links just expire. And you can't go back into every video and every place you mention it. And keep editing this stuff every day. You don't make much money on it anyway. It's not worth the effort. So I got a link and I replaced it in the new Typer Sync air fryer, which is great, by the way. I'm having a good time with that thing. I still have to go out and get that whole chicken, which means I got to go get it because Sam's Club doesn't sell those small whole chickens. They take all the ones that they get and they rotisserie them and sell them all day long for $5 a piece. And if I could get one of them without having them adulterated with seed oils and spices and everything else, it would be a good deal. But I want a chicken that's clean. So I'm going to find one, 5-6 pound chicken, and give it a try. And they have a video, Typhor does, and I found it. And I'll talk about it in the video that I make about me making the chicken. That actually shows you all the steps and tells you what it does, how it works. So pretty cool. They got some nice, if you go to their website and you look at the products page and go to these different products they have some terrific material and videos and explanations and tips and tricks and things. It's very well done. Very well done. I was impressed. Now, if I can only get the coupon code straight, maybe I'll actually get credit for some of the things that are being bought out of my labor, which somehow they never get the word. But that's okay. I got an air fryer out of it or two, so I'm beyond that. What I get. But I like the products. The products are great. Just like that vacuum sealer. My God, they got a new model. They got a new version of the CV12 coming out. I can't wait to see it in December. But even this morning I used it to seal up that big chunk of chuck roast so I could sous vide it. The thing is so great. So great. Kooky Carnivore joined the private community. Welcome. Welcome to you. That's way down at the bottom of the chat. Man, it's going to take me a week to get there in this thing, but let me see if I can do it this way. Oh, man, there's so much chat. So much chat. I had good attendance today, too. Here's Barry Simons. Donut Man. Oh, yeah. And here it is, right here. Kooky Carnivore, welcome. Tomorrow night we have our private community. I see Ebony Talks is here. How you doing? Good to see you. Main Runner. Rick is still here. Peter's still here. And that was the bottom of the chat, but I didn't go through it all. So I'm going to... Robbie just asked you your opinion on grounding. Okay, I think that's where I left off. How do you feel about grounding? We have an expression amongst the old Jews, our grandparents, my grandparents, Jewish grandparents, and even my parents. And you'd ask them, do you think such and such or so could help? And they'd look at you and they go, couldn't height. And that's about the best you can, most educated answer you can give to some of these things, because there's no way to quantify the benefit from grounding or not. You got people that'll swear by it. Other people will tell you it's a waste of time. Most YouTubers will agree on one thing. Gives them something to talk about. And that, I think, is responsible for most of the noise we hear on YouTube. 10 gazillion influencers wanting to be rock stars, trying to figure out something that they think people will click on. That's it. That drives the world. The same thing that drives the TV shows on TV, the sports that you watch, the focus groups and the boardrooms where they decide whether to put this TV show on or 8 or 9, demographic studies, surveys, marketing companies. How can we get the most number of people to buy whatever it is we're selling, whether it be a TV show or a car? And how's the best way to get them the message? Now, the professional world takes it to very expensive boardroom level decisions. YouTubers wake up one morning, rub the dirt out of their eyes and say, what the hell am I going to talk about today? So you run the gamut. But I think that's the problem. Anyway, main runner, the discount code for any of my Typer stuff is, Amazon has it. To try to keep up with codes for Amazon don't work half the time. Wrong links, tries to change every day. The links I have take you to the Typer website. They ship right away. You get it a day or two. It's all in this country. So use that link, because then I get credit for it at least. But I did put an Amazon link on my links to stuff I use page for this new Typer air fryer, the sink, and it's $197, but I don't have a discount code for it. But for those people who really think they really want to buy it from Amazon, I don't care. I put a link in there where you can buy it from Amazon through my affiliate account. Maybe I'll make $5. Who cares? You know, it's okay. But use that link. It'll cost you $197. If you buy it through the other link, it'll take you to Typer's website, and you'll buy it for $199 less 10%. So you'll get it for around $180. And with that thermometer in it, I got to tell you, I'm surprised. I looked on YouTube to see all the other, and you know how many people are Typer affiliates? How many videos have been made about that Typer Dome 2 for everybody from Dante Ferrigno and every other cook, Google Foods, the big guys, the little guys, 10,000 different videos about that Dome 2. I said, well, the launch of this new one is going to be immense. There's going to be 1,000 videos on YouTube. So here, a couple days after they launch it, I go on YouTube this morning. I type in the search bar, Typer sink air fryer. My videos are the only ones up there. I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. I don't know what's going on. And then I get an email from the little girl who works for Typer. That's kind of my contact there. Last night, see there, and she's over in China, so we email it's like talking to somebody on Mars. You say what you're going to say, and you sit and you wait for a while, and you get an answer a day later. And she asked me if I would be so kind as to post my unboxing video for them. They want to feature it on their Amazon store site, on Amazon.com, as their top review. I don't know whether they're using me or I should feel honored, but I told her no problem, no big deal. If I can help them out, I think that they've been responsive to me, and their products are just super products. So that's what's important to me. And this new one, the prices, I think, I'm surprised the word hasn't gotten out more. However, it's brand new. It just became available 5 days ago. So oh my God. Bear with me. You're on my time now, guys. Oh, Barry Simon. Oh, Barry's doing some more. Oh, okay, Barry Simon sent me another. Oh, these guys are becoming animals with this artificial intelligence. Gotta tell you. Wow. I'll look at that, Barry, after this live stream is over. And I have work to do for one of my clients. Got an email. And I have a package that I was expecting then I have to go to the post office to pick up it, which I may do, probably do it tomorrow. So there I am. I'm caught up. Donna just asked you to still just get going. Okay, got that. I think I've got all the. Peter says Kelly has a terrific personality and is super helpful to her viewers and the people in her carnivore coaching groups. She is. She's just a. She reminds me of a female Ken Berry, if you can imagine that. She's, Southern girl. She got those Southern mannerisms. I don't think has got much of an ego. She doesn't hesitate to tell you in no uncertain terms about things like the fact that she used to have stinky feet so bad. People don't like to admit that kind of stuff, but at the end, and I don't know if I finished talking about that video, but at the end of the video, you could find the initial impression I had about the fact that, Ken Berry and Kelly Hogan are going to tell me that I need to start adding carbs. It was just the opposite. They made a real case. Basically, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And I was happy to hear Ken basically say, the reason for all this noise is most probably, a bunch of carnivore wannabes that just need to have something to talk about. Because everybody jumps on the trends. You notice that. Somebody comes out with one video on something, all of a sudden everybody else making a video about it. Now, it's okay to make a video about commenting, but don't change the whole direction of your channel and all your advice that you've been given for years just because you want to sell a couple of videos. See a couple of videos get some big views. Rick, that last comment of yours is just absolutely too much information. I don't want to mentally picture that or think about it. Everybody's saying nobody has stinky feet. Well, I think it's time to go home. I'll tell you the truth. I still got 125 people here. Wow. So I'm down at the bottom of the chat. CB, how you doing, CB? I don't know if I said hi to you this morning, but always good to see you. And it's funny, Ken Berry wrote a book with Zane Griggs in the past, but Ken is holding his ground. Yeah, Ken wrote, well, you got when these guys co-author a book, you got to wonder what the deal was. But that was the book, Kicking Ass Over 50. It's just a different, said all the same things basically. It was just same points. You should be eating this, not that. I saw Zane a couple of years ago. I met him, talked to him for a couple of hours at this keto event in Orlando, and he had a booth, and he was selling his book. I mean, he was, and come on. I liked him, and he's working hard to sell his book. So guess what I bought? I haven't read it yet. You may notice I haven't even cracked the spine on it, but I did buy it, and I think he signed it for me here somewhere. Maybe not. I'm pretty sure he did. Yeah, there he is. He signed it. He signed it right there. Mitch, keep kicking ass, he said. Zane. There it is. And I paid big bucks for it because they don't give these things away at these events. But just trying to contribute, trying to help. I don't know if you would remember me or knows who I am or not. Most of these big deals on YouTube, they have no idea who I am or who we are, for that matter. Okay. I want to buy more of those books, says CB. CB, you got great books, man. You got great. CB sent me a couple of great books. I so appreciate that. Why do I have this D-Lush thing on the screen? I don't know. Must have clicked the wrong button. Main runner in caps. I used to work at a police department. They would buy me a Maple Square every morning to go across the street and bring me back donuts. Oh, yeah. Cops and donuts are kind of like very well known. Rick says she was surprised that Bella heard of you. Well, I'm not surprised, Rick. I'm not surprised because you're everywhere. You're everywhere. Everybody knows who you are. Mitch, do you need books? Jem says, no, I don't need books. I don't read. I don't have time to read books. I'm the opposite of guilty when it comes to reading. I don't have any time for that. I get my information like most people do today through technology. And question, is a meat grinder the answer for tough cuts of meat? Well, if you want to make burger out of them, yes, of course. I have a grinder, and I'll take chuck sometime. I thought about grinding up that piece of chuck that I had left. I said, no, I want to experiment with it. It costs $8 a pound, that stupid piece of chuck. I want to try to turn it into something that is enjoyable enough that I wouldn't regret that it wasn't a ribeye. I got pretty close the last time. Meat tenderizers thing were great. So I'm going to dry brine it. I'm sous videing it. I'm going to poke a few holes in it, and I'm going to cook it like a ribeye. Now, will it be worth all that work? Well, it's not a lot of work. It's about 2 minutes worth of actual work. Throw the hunk of meat on a rack, put salt on it, and put it in the fridge. You're done working. It does its own thing for however long you leave it in there. Put it in a plastic, vacuum seal bag and throw it in the sous vide. And you're done working. So it's not, as far as time and energy goes, there's no work to do it that way. It's just a process. Like so many recipes that we have. You decide, I really would like some bean soup. Let's see. So the first thing you do is you look at the beans, and they say, soak these beans for 48 hours minimum. Oh, fuck. Oh, here we go. We got a 12-day recipe here. Or barbecue is the same way. Oh, my God, the amount of work and steps. And it's crazy. I want to keep it simpler than that. But this thing, I'm going to try it and see how well it works. Listen, guys, I may have missed something today, but I'll be back tomorrow. Twice. Thanks everybody for coming. I hope I didn't miss anything obvious. Here's a little happy music to take us out. And Kitchen Witch, Tanya, how you doing? Didn't say hi to you yet. Aaron is here. It's time to say goodbye. I'm sure you've been here. I love the chat. I really do. I'd probably immerse myself in it. I keep getting emails, God. That's life these days. Every 2 seconds, phone. That's an addiction as well. Curiosity. You say to yourself, I'm not going to look. I gotta look, what is it? That's not healthy, I don't think. But it's what we got. So listen. Have a great day, everybody. Have a great day. Thanks so much for coming. Thank you for buying me some coffees. thank you for being nice to me. Rick says, have a great day, Mitch. You too, Rick. Have a fantastic day, says Sue, Smokey Bear Lover, Lady June. Bye, all. Lambs, bye, everybody. Brian, Dish, Mitch, have a great day. And hope you, your chuck steak ends up tender. We'll see. We'll see. I didn't film it so far, those steps, but when I take it out of the sous vide and tenderize it and cook it as a steak, I'll record that and see. And I'll probably post it even if it becomes, even if it came out bad. That's useful information too. But even more importantly than that, I wake up every morning and say, what the hell am I going to talk about today? So it's something to talk about. Always keep that in mind when you see a YouTube video. So why the hell would he post something like that? Well, because it's better than posting nothing. Because when you post nothing, YouTube just writes you off. They just stop. Even you disappear for a week, and you come back. Nobody sees you in their recommendations anymore. You got to be consistent. That's how they get you. They got you on a treadmill. You're working for them for nothing, basically. Doing all the work, producing all the entertainment. They're getting paid to run ads on your efforts. They cut you in for pennies of it, what they make. And they don't want to be bothered with you if you don't make money every day. That's slavery, but we enjoy it. So many of us do this because of the passion of the message we're trying to put out. So that's a little reality for today. And you can take that and think about it as you take the rest of the day off and eat some of that meat.